get into a college, Peter is determined to help his daughter out.
Principal Shepard, to get Meg into a college.
If she has any chance at all, she's going to need a little help.
We'll do anything, whatever it takes.
You do understand how this works.
We understand. I guess I'll, meet you in the car.
He didn't mean you have to sleep.
There are a few options.
Strangely, this won't be the only time in this video that Peter is willing to trade his body to help Meg. In Meg Goes to College, Peter comes up with a plan to get Meg into Brown University. First, he forges a letter of recommendation from Big Bird, and I can see why. Sesame Street is an academic source material. I mean, I'm still learning from it now. Luckily, the letter isn't needed, as Principal Shepard has a plan to get her in. And by plan, I mean a big ol' stinking lie.
Mrs. Griffin, every college has spots set aside for athletics. We can make Meg look like a star athlete. With the click of Meg looked like she played varsity lacrosse, won the Quahog Mirror, head rolled down a temple in Apocalypto.
Lois, this is amazing! Meg's gonna look more successful than...
Oh, we could use those Photoshop skills for our thumbnails. With Meg's credentials fluffed more than the cast of an adult film set, she receives a letter accepting her into college. After the family helps her move in, Peter becomes jealous that he didn't get into Brown. Yeah, Peter, there's probably a reason why your parents didn't push your education. At some point, you just gotta give up. With Meg moved in and ready to start a new chapter in her life, it's time for the rest of the family to leave. Only Peter has other ideas.
Homie, wanna listen to it for the next 6 months and again for the rest of your life?
Hey, you're my roommate? You're A-Shock Shakar?
God bless you.
Classic.
Peter, you can't pretend to be 18 years old. Your underwear is probably older than that. Meg quickly settles into college life and even gets an invite to a party, but her happiness is short-lived when she finds out that Peter has decided to stay at the college. But it's not all bad, as he helps her scope out the college to stop Meg from making any dumb mistakes.
You gotta get me out of here. These people are out of there. Do not go AD Pie, Meg. Do not join this thing.
Looks like Peter's hell is Quagmire's heaven. While Peter tries to help, Meg gets annoyed that her dad is butting in on her education. Snapping, she tells him to leave the campus as he's not even supposed to be there, resulting in Peter serving up a fresh slice of reality pie.
Me? You wouldn't even be here if your mother and I didn't...
What?
Yeah, your whole application was fake.
Is this true? What? No, of course not, Dean. If it is, you're going to be... Oh, no!
Well, that weekend on...
That's right, the dean heard the whole thing. Doesn't she know it's supposed to be a private conversation? Back on Spooner Street, Peter feels awful that he got Meg suspended, but Lois is more concerned about the possible jail time for fraud. Wait, is it a crime to Photoshop your head onto another body? Oh, man. Looks like I'm losing my six-pack on Facebook. Meg is understandably pissed, and Peter tries to comfort her.
I can't believe you two did this to me. Maybe if you believed it would have happened.
Meg, honey, nobody wanted we did.
You know, maybe there's a way none of you gets in trouble.
He sure has a way with words, doesn't he? Luckily, Brian comes up with a plan. All she has to do is prove she's capable of everything written in the application, and they'll have to drop the suspension. After doing a lot of training, Meg and her parents return to Brown, determined to set things right.
I could have your attention. I'm Dean Distant. We're here today to determine whether or not to buy her admission to our university.
And we're Mom and Dad.
What did they say? I'm very far away.
I've never seen Peter look so proud of Meg. Or maybe he's just excited about getting her out of the house. Meg miraculously manages to pull off every test. She kills it at softball, dives like an Olympian, performs splits so well it made my eyes water, and recites love as a battlefield in Russian. That was so beautiful, it would bring a tear to Vladimir Putin's eye. The only task left to do now is to prove that she can windsurf over a dangerous waterfall. Well, it was nice knowing you, Meg. Undeterred, though, she agrees to do it, and with a group of fans cheering her on, all that's left to say is this.
Guys, no matter what happens, I forgive you for what you did. I know deep down you were just...
Whatever you think the lesson is here is fine by us.
Good luck, Meg. We love you.
She's pretty forgiving for someone who's about to go to their watery grave. But Meg did manage to pull off all the other tests, so maybe she will soar across the waterfall like a gracious bird caught in the updraft of a... Nah, she crashes to the bottom and has to be rescued. At least you tried, Meg. At least you tried. It's strange seeing Meg have a fan club, especially with Peter at the forefront. But this isn't the only time people have liked her. Only on another occasion, it was in a really creepy way. Meg hasn't always been the most popular with the boys, but after realizing she has certain assets that a bunch of weirdos enjoy, it's down to Peter to save her from being exploited.
All right,
right, you guys, before we begin, let's sing the...
In This Little Piggy, Meg goes to Stewie's preschool party and is approached by a photographer who asks her if she's ever modeled before because she has a great look. Meg is flattered and happily takes his card. Hold up, Meg, great look? This guy's after your organs. I'm just putting it out there. It's a possibility. The next day, Meg takes Evan up on the offer and arranges to meet with him, but Peter isn't exactly thrilled when he hears about it.
Lois, please send these back to the factory. I believe they're defective.
Oh my God, Peter, did you just rip your own ears off?
Well, that's a bit of an overreaction. I'd hate to see what he does when he sees the modeling photographs. Meg tells them that they're terrible parents for not believing in her and accepting that some people may actually think that she's hot. At the photo shoot, which looks suspiciously like a place you'd find a leather couch with cameras pointing at it, Meg gets to work. Well, it looks like I'm skipping lunch today. After performing more poses than a mime artist working overtime, Evan tells Meg that she did a really great job and offers to show her the photographs.
Wait, Ben, are they all of my feet?
The thing is, my name's Evan, by the way.
And there's the catch. Evan tells Meg there are a lot of people out there who are willing to spend fat stacks on foot sites. Hey, I'm not judging until I am. After getting home, Meg tells Peter and Lois that Evan thinks she's got a lot of potential and could be a famous model. Of course, she leaves out the fact that she'll probably be featuring on Pinky Passion 6. Look, I'm just assuming there are 5 others. I'm not saying that I know the first 5 Pinky Passions. Moving on. Back in the studio, Meg tells Evan that she's changed her mind, but after seeing that she got 35,000 views in a single night, Evan persuades her to carry on.
And besides, think about all your fans.
I guess when you put it that way, I wouldn't want to let down Drizzlefoot 321. You really think I can do it, Evan?
That's it, Meg. Don't do it for yourself. Do it for Drizzlefoot. I'm sure he's a stand-up guy. Meanwhile, back at the Griffin household, Chris decides to reward himself with some alone time on the internet and just happens to land on Meg's feet pics. While he's shocked at first, it takes him a whole 15 minutes to tell his parents. Come on, man. Peter and Lois confront Meg about what she's been up to.
Please, don't try to act like you guys care.
Oh, thank God.
Peter!
Well, that's a sentence no parents ever want to say. Meg tells them to stop acting like they care, and despite Lois trying to convince her, she leaves for a foot fetish party being held in her honor. Peter acts like he doesn't care, but soon realizes that he doesn't want his daughter to be objectified by a group of strangers. Most people would have gotten that straight away, but this is Peter Griffin we're talking about. It takes him a little bit. Desperate to stop her from making any bad decisions, they turn to the one man who can help find the sleazy party.
Foot party, huh? Oh, come on in. It's 50 guys, 1 foot.
Oh, my.
When did parties change from blow out the candles to take off your sandals? At the party, an uncomfortable Meg is surrounded by a group of dudes who look like they've just crawled out of their mom's basements, I would know. With a tarp on the floor, I think it's safe to say the organizer isn't just worried about beer being spilled. With Evan getting things started by suggesting they sing the Japanese anthem, Peter and Lois enter the nick of time. Meg asks them what they're doing there. After all, they don't care, right?
We're protecting our little girl from a lot of guys who I oddly recognize from Best Buy.
And to feel appreciated.
Really?
We love you, sweetheart. Better than this.
Thanks. Can we please go home?
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Not so fast. I promised these men a foot.
What did you say is going on the other side of this curtain?
Yep, your eyes don't deceive you. That's Peter actually telling Meg that he loves her. He even tells her he's sorry for always putting her down. Is he feeling okay? Meg realizes that she's made a huge mistake and asks her parents to take her home. Unfortunately, the group of guys aren't happy that the fun is over, so Peter organizes someone else to fill in as the party piece.
Going on the other side of this curtain?
Don't worry about it.
Boy, good luck.
Power heist.
This crew pulling off a ride luck.
I'm just thankful we're on this side of the curtain. Back on Spooner Street, Meg thanks Peter and Lois for helping her, but not before concerned Joe comes to the door telling Peter his foot somehow got pregnant. Well, this is going to be an expensive series of paternity tests. This isn't the first time Peter is worried about Meg, though. Although his way of showing his feelings can be quite complicated, to say the least. As after Meg goes to Paris for a semester, she ends up being kidnapped by human smugglers.
I'm so scared.
Meg? I don't know what you want, but I have a very particular lack. I will never be able to find you. But what I do have is 2 dogs. Watch. You can have one of them.
Truck.
These guys are serious. Lois, Meg's...
Whoa! Peter's willing to give up $2 for Meg. That's a whole gas station hot dog he could buy with that money. Lego My Megos starts with Meg taking part in a gym class session where all the girls choose to gang up on her in a dodgeball game. Girls can be really brutal. Meg tells her friend Ruth that she's had enough of the school, to which her friend gives her a tempting offer.
I hate it so much here. Why don't you come to Paris for a semester with me instead? I'm leaving next week. Hey, I know. If you...
Man, Ruth must be even more unpopular than Meg if she's willing to spend a whole semester in France with her. Meg asks her parents if she can go, but Lois tells her that they don't have enough money to send her to Paris. That's when Meg explains that she's been saving up all her money and can find her own trip. Something tells me she's been planning an escape for a very long time. I can't blame her. The Griffin family goes to the airport to see Meg off on her travels, and Peter shares some heartfelt words.
You be careful,
So, little guy.
Don't worry about me. Just get yourself laid.
Will you get...
as soon as the plane lands.
Okay, Mom, I will. I'll miss you, Dad.
I've never been very... Could be, Meg.
And I'm gonna bring you back something special, little guy.
Don't worry about...
He may have left 2 letters off the actual word, but I think he really means it. After landing in Paris, Meg and Ruth are excited about their adventure. Luckily, there's a random French guy waiting outside the airport who offers to split a cab with them, because that's not suspicious at all. Meg is keen to let her parents know that she's arrived in France safely.
Griffin residence.
Hi, Dad. It's me. Just wanted you to know I got here.
Sound is what concerns me.
Oh, it's so amazing. Yes, Dad. And sound.
Oh, good.
Peter is genuinely relieved that she is okay, but that relief does not last long, as the shady guy from the taxi turns out to be a human trafficker who's targeted Ruth and Meg. It must have been a really slow day at the airport. It's not long until the criminals strike, and despite hiding under the bed and telling her dad what's happening, she's captured.
Meg? Meg? I don't know who you are, what you want, but I have a very particular lack of... We'll never be able to find you. But what I do have is 2 watch. You can have one of them. Try. These guys are serious. Lois!
Please can do. My little girl is in terrible danger.
Ma'am, the men who...
Peter looks genuinely angry, but let's face it, the Taken movie would have been a lot shorter if this is how the call went. Lois and Peter are terrified and called the FBI, but the agents tell them that if she's not found in 96 hours, she'll probably be gone forever. Thanks, FBI. Also, they can't start searching for her until it's been 96 hours. Thanks, FBI. With Lois and Peter worried sick, Brian and Stewie decide that they need to get Meg back themselves, so they fly to Paris and track down the guy who targeted Meg at the airport, but after giving chase, things don't end well for him.
Oh no, I have shattered.
Damn it! He died before he could tell us anything.
The first guy always dies.
Well, I'm sure he didn't want something in here we can use.
Ugh, this guy has a Velcro.
That's embarrassing. Nobody wants to Xiao themselves. It would have been bad enough. Luckily, the duo discovers an address in the wallet of the human pretzel and come up with a genius plan to find out where Meg is being held captive. You see, Stewie had recorded the phone call to Peter, and dressed as a European cologne salesman, they use a voice recognition device to find the kidnapper. For a baby, he really knows how to kick ass. After Stewie beats the guy up and Brian makes himself a sandwich, they discover that Meg and the other girls are being kept upstairs. At first, they think that they found her, but it turns out that she's been sent to an auction for charity. That's just awful. Can't they just host a raffle with crappy prizes like everyone else? Brian and Stewie manage to sneak into the event under the guise of a businessman and a slave, but they soon get discovered anyway. After escaping the basement, the two chase after Meg and her new owner, but it turns out that she's actually been purchased for his rich and handsome son who wants to be her husband. If she doesn't want to get married, she can simply go home on a private jet. Wow, is Meg actually going to get a happy ending for once?
Yes, I will spend the rest of my days making your every... Will you be my wife, Princess Meg?
Stewie?
Oh, you back? But you really don't remember anything?
Ooh, so close. But you had to hand it to Stewie. He's a great shot. Back in Quahog, the rest of the Griffin family are happy to have Meg back home, especially Peter, although he has a weird way of showing it. He may act like he doesn't care, but we all heard him offer up his Casio watch to get her back. If that's not caring, I don't know what is. It's clear that Peter takes Meg for granted pretty much all of the time, but when things are really bad, he always realizes how lucky he is to have her. Lots of kids like spending time with their dad, unless that man is Peter Griffin, of course.
But that's my dad.
What's more important to you, your job or your family?
And don't pick the obvious one.
Oh, hey, guys, I was just catching up on some plunger nipples.
Clean up on aisle 5. In Hell Comes to Quahog, the guys are enjoying a few games of ping pong at the Clam until Lois calls and reminds Peter that he needs to pick up Meg from the roller rink. Not letting the chore harsh their buzz, the guys head on over to the rink, strap on some roller skates, and let the good times roll. Joe, I wouldn't have my hands in those shoes if I were you. Do you know how many people have worn those, Fricks? Gross. After having fun, the guys get into the car and go home, but they've forgotten Meg. You know, the whole reason they went to the rink in the first place. To make matters worse, she has to walk home in the pouring rain. And when she does get back, she's pissed and tells Peter that if she had her own car, she wouldn't have to depend on him all the time. Unbelievably, Peter actually agrees to help his daughter out and takes her to a used car lot. Meg has her eye on a reliable sedan, but Peter has other ideas.
What a good-looking question. 3 inches of reinforced steel protects your daughter from short-range missile attacks.
I see. And does the sedan protect against missiles?
It does not.
Ah, you hear that, Meg? Yeah, it does not protect against missiles. See, these are the questions. This is why I'm here.
Peter, you can't be serious. This is a 30-ton war machine.
I'm still not sure.
Did I mention the tank is a tank?
Sold.
Sure, a tank seems cool. But one accidental push of a button and the car in front is going boom. And of course, Peter starts wreaking havoc with a new tank, even blowing up Cleveland's house. I'd hate to know how much he spends on new bathtubs. But understandably, Meg is annoyed that she hasn't been able to drive the tank herself, despite it being bought for her after all. Peter eventually agrees to take her out in it, but the driving lesson does not go according to plan. Was there even a plan?
Joe, my God, what happened?
You just ran over me, you bastard! I don't know where you got that thing, but I'm impounding it!
Look at you. You look like a half-empty toothpaste.
It'll be okay, Joe. Grab the foot pump, you'll be fixed up in no time. Joe, understandably annoyed that his legs are now even more unusable, somehow has the tank impounded. Meg decides that she'll get a job at the newly opened Megastore to buy her own car. The problem is that the new store is running everyone else in Quahog out of business, including the Pawtucket Brewery. With Peter out of a job, he blames Meg.
Peter, you lost your job because I couldn't blame Meg. And you can stop making time someone says Meg.
So, how was your day at courses, Meg?
Meg! Meg!
I'm not gonna sit here and take this.
If that meatloaf was dry when it was served, it's definitely not anymore. To make matters worse, a heat wave hits Quahog at the same time, and Superstore USA needs all the power it can get, causing a power outage. Sure, they've taken all the jobs and sapped every last bit of electricity, but where else can you find a Starbucks and a Burger King right next to each other? Think of the bigger picture, guys! The people at Quahog decide to protest at the store, and Peter goes inside to give them a piece of his mind.
That's our industrial-sized air conditioner.
Wow. When I walk into Superstore USA, I get the sensation that I'm standing on a mountaintop with the wind blowing through my hair!
What? Are you out of your mind?
Leave this lot, losers, unless you want a licking. And we'd love to deliver that licking, right, fellas? Yeah, love it. A lot. I'd love to lick a lemon lollipop in Lilyhammer.
Man, I haven't seen someone switch sides that quickly since Anakin Skywalker. And at least that was like a kind of slow burn. Meg soon realizes that her dad joining her is far worse than him hating her as she becomes his supervisor, or should I say a babysitter. He colors in the books, hides in the pants rack, and sticks plungers to his nipples. While Peter slacks off, meanwhile, Meg is promoted to assistant manager, and her first task is to fire Peter. The company progression here is insane. In another week, she'll be the managing director, bruh. When Peter comes over, she knows what she has to do.
And you're the only one I'll ever have. So I'm not gonna fire you. Mr. Pittsburgh, I quit.
Pittsburgh?
Yeah, get it all out of your system.
Meg, that was a wonderful thing you just did for me.
Dang, that's sweet. He might be a deadbeat selfish moron, but he's her deadbeat selfish moron. Meg's loyalty to her dad leads to one of those rare moments where Peter realizes how special his daughter really is. He may have been cut off by the giant tank crashing through the wall, but it totally counts. After Brian and Stewie use the impounded tank to get revenge on the Megastore, power is restored to Quahog and everyone who lost their jobs can get back to work. Well, except for Meg, but she's more interested in something else.
You were gonna say you loved me. You love me, and you know it.
Hey, mouth, young lady.
Well, you think you'll look for another job, Meg?
Meg! Meg!
Uh-oh.
Who needs a job when you have your father's love? Well, everyone who needs money, I guess, but it's still heartwarming to see. And while Meg was in charge of Peter at the store, after turning 18, it's her dad who has to pull rank. Every father dreads the day when guys come sniffing around their daughters, especially when that guy is Glenn Quagmire.
No, Grandpa, I don't. No kid wants to be read any exist. It's just you won't leave.
Okay, where? You think they're hiding in there?
Oh, no.
See you later, suckers!
Good luck to them.
Peter!
Oh, right, let's go.
Who said romance is dead? In Meg and Quagmire, the Griffin family go to the Teen Choice Awards for Meg's birthday, although I'm pretty sure the Fox Network made them go under threat of being fired. I mean, why else would you sit through that? Well, it turns out that it was all a massive ruse.
Hey, what's with all the cars on the street?
Oh, they're all here for you.
For God's sake, you idiot! We were supposed to open the door so Oh dear.
Mom, if it's a surprise...
Surprise!
Oh dear.
Mom, if it's a surprise...
I'm shocked Peter even remembered it was her birthday, let alone organized a party for her. After getting inside, however, it turns out nobody actually showed up to said party. Now that's just depressing. Meg is understandably upset, but that's when a party guest finally arrives, and it's probably the last person you'd ever want around your 18-year-old daughter.
Well, it's your 18th birthday, Meg. That's a very important a young woman's life. Hey, welcome to the adult. You got another member right next door if you ever want to talk. Hey, where's that Pinky going, huh? Pinky going, huh? Where's he going? What's he do? Get back here.
Ew! Something tells me Quagmire had this day booked in his calendar for quite some time. At first, Peter finds it funny that his buddy is hitting on Meg, but then Brian reminds him that it's his daughter. With Quagmire seducing Meg with wild stories about his career as a pilot, Peter steps in and tells him it's time to leave.
Take it easy, you guys. See you later, Meg.
Bye.
Okay, that was weird.
That was weird.
Right?
Oh my God, so weird.
I tell you, I'm gonna be kicking butts and taking names, and then giving those names to Kick. What's your name?
Derek.
What's your name?
Michael.
You're Derek now.
Huh? Who'd have thought it? Squished somewhere between his selfishness and the remaining brain cells an ounce of fatherly instinct. Unfortunately for Peter, though, Quagmire is only just getting started. While lying on his bed like a kid who just got his first girlfriend, the pair start texting. Oh man, this is not gonna end well. The next day, Quagmire comes around to see the Griffin household again, but Peter ain't happy.
Oh, hey, Mr. G. How's it going?
Quagmire, what are you doing here?
Hi, Glenn. Bye, you guys. Me and Glenn are going out.
Don't worry, Dad. I'll take care of him.
Okay, you two have fun on your date.
What? I can't let Quagmire take Meg out on a date. That guy'll bang anything.
We'll see you later.
Lois, you out of your mind? Out on a date? That guy'll bang anything.
I made meatloaf. It's in the fridge.
I can see where he's coming from. At this point, Glenn can sneeze and give everyone an STD. Lois comes up with the theory that Meg is trying to get a rise from them and isn't planning on doing anything, although I think we all know what's actually going to rise. Giggity giggity. Ew. On their romantic date, the two really hit it off. Quagmire obviously tries to shoot his shot and invites Meg over to his house, but she tells him it's getting pretty late. But if Glenn really wanted company, he definitely got it.
And I want you to stay the hell away from her.
Peter, it's me. I do. Besides, Meg is 18 now, and you've got...
Maya, you're one of my best pals, and I'm asking you not to do...
Your job. It's my turn now.
Look, Quagmire, pals, and I'm asking you not to do this.
I don't think I've ever seen Peter this protective of her Meg. I'd be careful, Quagmire. With a jaw like that, it'll be impossible for him to miss. Ignoring Peter's warning, Meg and Glenn continue dating, but Peter's got other plans. While watching TV, Peter crashes the party and tries to sabotage the relationship by texting the other women Quagmire's talking to, inadvertently finding out way too much about his daughter.
Room for one more right in the middle of you two? Come on, scooch apart there. Oh, well, now that you're with Meg, you don't need to be talking to Backbush anymore. Ring saying you're off the market. Ring? All right, well, I better send a text to Backbush.
Yeah, I think we're checking off every box in the father's worst nightmare bingo card right now. All we need now is awkwardly passing on the landing in the middle of the night for the win. Lois tells Peter that the best way to stop the relationship is to do nothing, but the plan backfires and Peter lets Quagmire take Meg to his cabin, known as the Stuff It Inn.
One time, my friends and I went camping, and nobody could.
That's insane. What is going on over...
And then I tried to start the campfire, and I could...
Something tells me that the second letter in B&B doesn't mean breakfast in this place. Just a hunch. Luckily, Peter arrives at the cabin just in time and does what he should have done when Quagmire first came sniffing around.
There you are, you son of a bitch! You Get away from my daughter, you pervert! Meg, get in the car. We're going home.
I'm not going home. I'm 18, and you can't tell me what to do anymore.
Meg, I'm only gonna say this once. You may be an adult, but you're still my daughter. And it's my job to protect you from errant wieners. So I don't care how old you are, you're gonna do what I say and get in the damn car!
Oh, Peter rarely pulls the genuinely concerned parent card to his kids, but when he does, he's scary. Back on Spooner Street, Meg realizes that her parents have stopped her from making a bad decision and actually thanks them. You can say that again. Do you really want your kid's first word to be giggity? Peter had to play the strict parent to protect his daughter from the resident deviant, but there have been times where they have been best buddies. Meg and Peter, not Peter and Quagmire, even though they have been best buddies. Anyways, it's no secret that Meg isn't Peter's first choice for, well, anything. But after taking her to a college interview, he finds out how fun she can actually be.
I can't believe you would be so irresponsible.
Some water balloons at Nerds?
Sure. What the hell?
Well, we'll work on to the Meg copter.
I don't think Lois will be able to cope with another version of Peter. Peter and Lois take Meg to the college fair in Meg Stinks, where there are plenty of colleges to choose from, including Dakota University and its offensively drunk mascot to Roberts University, which is notoriously hard to get into, apparently. Meg has her heart set on Green Mountain College, however, and thanks to Principal Shepard, she gets an interview. Peter is more than happy to drive her all the way to Vermont. Well, after Lois kicks his butt into submission, that is. Hitting the road, the father and daughter duo try to entertain themselves, Meg sharing how fun it is to hang your arm out the window.
Hey! My hand to go back, but I'm not letting it.
You lost your hand!
That's all right. I can regenerate. In air.
It's your hand!
That's all right. I can regenerate.
Nah, don't worry. He has cartoon regeneration powers. Someone should really tell Seamus. By the time they get to Vermont, Peter's already sick and tired of Meg's company. But when one of Peter's favorite songs starts playing on the jukebox, he's shocked to find out that it was Meg who chose it.
Hey, Night. There's one cool person in this dump. I wonder who played this. Played Night Moves? How would you even know what that song is?
From hearing that song in the backseat of your car since I was a little kid.
Listening. Never even knew you were there. Wait, were you there?
Yes, Dad. I know a lot about you. Guacamole.
It's the devil's vomit.
In the last election, you voted for Mike.
It's in the White House, Meg.
And I know you love Augustus Gloop. And you hate Mike TV.
And the Father of the Year award goes to... It turns out Meg knows everything about her dad, from his fear of guacamole to his love of Augustus Gloop. You know, the important stuff. When it's Peter's turn to share things he knows about Meg, though, things get awkwardly quiet. Turns out Peter gave up his aspirations to be a foot doctor after Lois fell pregnant, leading to this sad realization.
You're my kid.
Who had the chicken parm?
Oh, that's my second entree.
Thanks, Dad. Boy.
You know what? You have it, Meg.
We're gonna have a couple of night moves.
Isn't it beautiful when a parent acknowledges their kid's existence? Well, it is for Meg's case, anyway. After arriving at Green Mountain College, Peter starts scoping out all the important spots, the library, the study hall. Nah, the best keg parties, of course. After a few games of beer pong in a building that suspiciously looks like a crack den, the two continue to bond, albeit in weird ways.
Throwing at buses apples, not eating apples. See, flashback, because we're friends now. Meg, you can be in the flashback, because we're friends.
Not a great thing for a girl to hear, but hey, a compliment's a compliment, I guess. When they finally get home, Lois finds out that Meg missed her interview after partying all night and sleeping through it. Well, if that's not the college experience, I don't really know what is. Although it's probably a good idea to get in first. While Meg and Peter had a great time, Lois isn't impressed.
Dinner's getting cold. I wonder where you... They left for the movies 5 hours ago.
God, look at Lois picking food from her teeth with her nails. Do it? We were just talking here. Oh, now she's crying. That's not what she's a pig.
Mom, you're a pig.
No, you're not supposed to act here. Oh, now she's crying. That's not what I wanted.
Stop crying.
Come on, Lois. She can spend the rest of her life at college. She'll only get a short period of time with her father. Wait, no, I have that the wrong way around. Peter and Meg carry on hanging out together and having fun, but Lois tells Meg not to let Peter distract her with his craziness. Meg tells her mother that she's enjoying spending time with her old man. She knows what she's doing, but something tells me she's out of her depth.
Awesome. Come on, let's go next door and get your mom a funny refrigerator magnet. Get a piercing, too.
Ooh, that looks painful. On the plus side, she won't have a problem getting a job at Hot Topic. After going home, Meg realizes how exhausting Peter can be. I mean, do you know how difficult it is to pull off a bank robbery? You have to shout at people, check the cash packets for dye, change your identity afterward. It's a huge headache. Lois explains that part of growing up is sticking to your priorities and doing the hard things in life, even if it means ending the best friendship you've ever had.
College or breaking up with your father. Now, life's not always easy, Meg. Just ask...
I guess. But it's not gonna be easy.
Meg. Just ask an ugly Boy Scout.
Scoutmaster.
Man, being an adult blows. Meg breaks the news to Peter that she's gonna have to drive back to Green Mountain College and do the interview alone, but Peter takes it to heart.
Like this, Meg? I like the fun, Meg. I thought we...
Dad, I don't need you to be my friend, my father.
Well, that is too much to ask. Hard being a father. This is why Dad wound all the kids. I hate the passage. Ah, my little girl's growing up.
Yes, she is, Dad. Yes.
Poor guy. Just when you discover you have an amazing kid, they fly the nest. Maybe one day he'll even realize that she's a girl. And for those of you who are wondering, Meg contracted an STD on her first night of college, and like a father's love, it never goes away. I'm sure I've read that on a t-shirt somewhere. This isn't the first time Peter has needed Meg though, but it's not always to have fun. Sometimes it's to plot revenge. Sibling camaraderie is one thing, but Peter's sister Karen takes it to the extremes. Luckily, one Griffin family member knows how he feels.
Even I can see that your sister's a huge bully. And trust me, I know more about getting bullied than anyone.
You do? How?
That's an understatement. At this point, that beanie is more booger than cotton. When it comes to Family Guy, relatives come out of the woodwork quicker than a rich uncle's will reading. And Peter's sister, Karen, sends a letter telling the Griffins that she's coming for Thanksgiving, but Peter isn't exactly thrilled about seeing his sibling again.
Sort of hostile interrogation.
Your father doesn't like to talk about his sister, Meg. They've never really gotten along.
Wow, Peter, in all the years I've known you, you've never even mentioned a sister.
Big deal. I don't talk about my sister.
Peter, Karen's coming, and that's that.
How cool! I didn't even know I had an aunt. I can't wait to meet her.
Look, I'm telling you guys, it's gonna be a disaster.
If Karen is anything like Peter, Lois is really going to regret saying that. With everyone gathered for their Thanksgiving dinner and Karen finally arrives, she's an instant hit with Meg, Chris, and Lois, but for Peter, it's a trip down a very smelly memory lane.
Hey, Karen, welcome to our...
Bring it in, PP!
I like her.
Oh man, I cannot see Peter in a wig. Peter's humiliation does not end there though, as Karen punches him in the love spuds to make the rest of the guys laugh. That's when they realize where they've seen her before. She's a famous wrestler called Heavy Flow. Who said wrestling wasn't a blood sport? Okay, I grossed myself out with that one. Yeah, that's, Karen takes over the dinner party by sharing embarrassing stories about Peter to make everyone laugh.
Was I supposed to know you didn't want your teammates to know you wore a bra?
Tell one where Peter is a nincompoop, or maybe a silly Billy.
What's halt atop?
More stories! More stories!
Nincompoop, or maybe a silly Billy. Oh, man.
Now I see why Peter has never mentioned her before. She's even worse than him. Karen continues to ruin things for Peter by stealing his job as head turkey carver and taking over the annual football game. In fact, she gets a little too carried away during the family fun.
You're a jerk!
The hell was that?
That's his stutter. And whenever he stutters, he usually...
Don't! Oh.
Just give her your lunch money and have it done with, Peter, dude. At this point, everyone gets a glimpse into the relationship between Peter and his sister, especially Meg, who is concerned about her dad, and she tells him that she knows a bully when she sees one. After all, Peter's been treating Meg like this for years.
Dad, I know you can stand up to Aunt Karen. Finally do. She'll stop terrorizing you, me, for the rest of my life.
You know what? Right. I'm gonna do it.
You are?
A lady wrestler and defeat Heavy...
Yay, Dad!
I am gonna become a... and defeat Heavy Flow.
So Meg wants Peter to stand up to Karen so he doesn't have to bully her anymore? That logic is so messed up, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense, I guess. So what grand plan does Peter have to stand up to his sister? Well, the obvious one, pretend to be a female wrestler called Maxie Patty and kick his sisters. But of course, despite being fanboys of Heavy Flow, the guys help Peter prepare for the fight. Joe organizes Steven Seagal to help him with some pointers, Quagmire tries to hypnotize him to find the root of the trauma, and Cleveland fills him full of drugs, which, let's face it, is 90% of the way to being a professional fighter these days. But stepping up in the ring with a machine like Karen isn't exactly easy, and Peter, Patty, puts up a pretty good fight, but it's not enough.
Oh my God, she's taking it too...
So it turns out that Maxie Patty can't stop a Heavy Flow. Locked in Karen's infamous headlock, things are not looking good for Peter. With his face going redder than someone who's fallen asleep on a sunbed and his arms moments away from being snapped off, this happens.
Stewie, he's in charge of the show now.
Say hello to Teen Laquifa.
1, 2, 3.
If these are the female wrestling names, I'd hate to hear what the guys are called. Peter realizes that it's Meg that saved him and put his sister in her place. Confused as to why she would do that, Meg explains that she couldn't stand by and watch her dad get beaten up.
I guess I was taking out all the pain I felt on you.
I understand. Better than anybody. But I still love you, Dad.
I love you too, Meg.
Did somebody order a hot-ass bitch in this lady? Oh, you're alive. Sorry, I was told I was in charge now.
Hey, he said the whole phrase this time. A therapist would call that progress. Maybe Peter will stop bullying Meg now? I mean, I doubt it, but don't let me ruin a beautiful moment here. And I probably shouldn't bring up that Karen will most likely never wake up from her coma either. On the plus side, that's one less Christmas card he'll need to send out this year. What? Stamps are expensive. Meg definitely stepped up to save Peter, but it's not like he hasn't gone above and beyond to help his daughter. Sometimes a little too far, one might say. After getting Meg into a spot of legal trouble with Luke Perry, it's down to Peter to take one for the team.
Thirsty?
No.
Gee, the sun seems really...
It's gonna take a lot more than freshly squeezed nipple juice to get out of this one. I think I don't want to ever say that one ever again. In the story on page 1, Lois and Peter take Meg to see the Dean of Admissions to try and get her into Brown University. After bribing the secretary a crisp $5 to get an appointment, it turns out that Meg doesn't have enough extracurricular activities to get into college. Her last chance is to get a job at the school paper, but she has to convince Neil first.
Realize how smooth the skin between your acne is.
Okay, I'll give you. Never been able to get an interview with the mayor of Quahog. You?
The words every member of the science club longs to hear. Meg's first assignment is interviewing Mayor West, but he avoids her by jumping out of the window. Determined, though, she waits for the perfect opportunity to catch him off guard, which just so happens to be when he's taking a deuce. Holding the toilet roll as ransom, she forces him to agree to an interview and hits journalistic gold.
For an hour, and I don't have anything I can use for my article. Can you just...
Sneaky sis, that one's also funny.
Mayor West, you've been talking...
Somebody's stealing my water.
It just went down the drain.
It's cost $150,000 of the taxpayers' money. It's me $1 million.
You spent public money investigating this? I think I have my story.
Your story? Wait a minute.
Thanks. You know, I think I have my story.
The sad thing is, real-life politicians have probably spent way more on a lot worse. After writing about the corruption in City Hall, Meg shares a copy with Brian and Peter. Brian thinks it's a great story, but Peter's convinced it'll just bore people. Knowing how much Meg wants to succeed, though, he sets to work writing an even better one before breaking into the school and swapping it with the original story. What's more interesting, I ask you, than thousands of dollars being spent on a crackpot's delusions? Calling someone out for being gay. What is this, high school? Oh wait, it actually is high school. Unfortunately, it's not long until the news reaches Luke Perry, who vows to sue the writer for slander. Understandably, Meg is pissed, and Peter tries to defend himself by saying he just wanted her to have something good to post.
Luke Perry's fault. If he were actually gay...
Brian, that's it. If I could get a Perry doing something gay-like, it'll make people be as true. Hey, I've gotten people to believe crazy. And if you are pure of heart and deed...
In a weird, messed up way, this is his way of showing he cares, in the same way that a kid tries to wash his dad's car with rocks. With the help of Brian, Peter realizes that if the rumor turns out to be true, then he can't sue Meg, and she won't be called out as a liar. He plans to snap a picture of Luke Perry doing something freaky with another dude, which will just fix everything magically. I see one blaring problem with this plan. He's not gay! Brian and Peter turn up at the Five Seasons Hotel, and Peter comes up with a foolproof plan.
Well, I'm sure I can take it. There he is.
Yeah, you heard that right. He just said he'd take a bullet for Meg. We'll see. Knowing he won't get another chance, Peter cranks his seduction level to the max.
Oh, Luke! They're a very clean people. And they have been ever since they...
Measuring a picture of Luke Perry vomiting.
Damn it. They're a very clean people. And they have been ever since they first came...
I just feel sorry for Lois having to see that all the time. Her gag reflex must be off the charts. Back at the Griffin residence, Meg is still angry with Peter as everyone at school thinks that she's a liar. Meg thinks that he did it maliciously, but Lois tells her that he only did it because he knew how much he wanted to go to Brown and genuinely thought that would help. Lois tells her that Peter will straighten everything out, but his next plot is far from straight.
I'm telling you, Dark Side of the Moon totally syncs up with the Wizard of Oz.
Listen, I gotta get going.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Aunt Doherty told me that once, but I thought she was just being a bitch. Get going.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Come on, Luke. No, nobody told you about stranger danger. Back at the pool, you already saw he was a weirdo in a Speedo. It's like, with Luke and Peter sitting on the couch and Brian hiding with the camera, Peter makes his move. He spills wine on Luke and tells him that bumping uglies with another man is the best way to get a wine stain out. Wow, I've lived a sheltered life. I always thought club soda was the best. When Meg and Lois return, Peter is forced to come clean.
Please, Dylan.
What the hell? But hey, you gotta print the real story. And this time, I want to talk to the real reporter. Let's go, Meg.
Who would have thought Peter would go so far to help Meg? Thankfully, Luke Perry understands and agrees to drop the lawsuit as long as Meg writes the true story. Now, that's what I call a happy ending. Meg gets her big story, enough credits for college, Peter doesn't have to do anything freaky, and Luke Perry shuts down the false allegations. I mean, Luke Perry, gay? Come on, Peter. How'd you think you'd get away with that one?
I'm kind of busy right now.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. Well,
So, where were we?
If I do this, you promise to stop stealing my water?
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know what to believe anymore. Peter has rare moments where he shows how much he loves his daughter despite treating her like dirt most of the time, but when she almost dies, he can't help but share his true feelings. After a near-death experience, Peter gets super protective of Meg, especially when it comes to her love life.
Just want to talk to him.
Why do you?
Just want to talk to him.
Dad, this is ridiculous.
Talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I just want to shoot him. I just want to talk to him.
You can't shoot him.
What are you doing?
You.
Yeah, I get the feeling he's not there to talk. A flash flood hits Quahog and Peter's daughter, with the Griffin family household resembling a scene from the Titanic. Lois tells the family that they need to get out of the house before the water rises anymore. Peter sends Meg into the kitchen to save a case of beer. Priorities. While diving underwater, however, Meg's shirt gets snagged on a shelf, and it's down to Peter to save her.
My God, we better get her to a hospital. She doesn't look too good. Yeah, she looks worse than Andy Garcia when he had his conjoined twin.
Was anyone else expecting him to come back with the beers? It's good to know he prioritizes Meg slightly higher than Patriot Ale. At the hospital, things aren't looking too good for Meg. Dr. Harbin tells the family that she's in a coma and that she might never wake up. After hearing that devastating news, Peter realizes that he's been taking his daughter for granted and makes her a promise.
Well, I am gonna change. You hear me, Meg? If you come out of this, I am gonna treat you like a princess for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Worried sick, the family watches over Meg, but after a young intern doctor called Michael comes in to check on her, she miraculously wakes up. Everyone's relieved that she's out of the coma, especially Peter, who intends to keep that promise of his.
Oh, there's my little angel. Here, let me get that.
Thanks, Dad.
Wow, Peter, I've been true to your word about treating Meg better.
She's my own. She needs to be protected like a rare gem herniated scrotum of an older gentleman.
Like when you took her to that new movie? Well, I think you've been wonderful.
It only took slipping into a coma to get noticed. Why didn't she think of that before? When Lois gives him props for being true to his word, Peter tells her that Meg is his only daughter and needs to be protected like an old guy's herniated scrotum. Has the father ever said anything so beautiful? So Meg and Peter begin spending quality time together, like going to the movies. Although I think he may have gone a little too far, sticking up to Connie D'Amico for her.
Say, can you do me a favor? You see that fire extinguisher there?
Dad, that's enough! Dad, that's enough! That's enough, Dad!
On the bright side, maybe Connie's dad will be nice to her once she wakes up from her coma. Peter tells Meg that she can have whatever she wants, but that's when the doorbell rings. It turns out that Meg and Michael really hit it off at the hospital and are going out on a date. And with Peter's newly discovered protective side, he does not take this news well.
Stay away from my daughter, you possible rapist!
Dad, stop it! Michael's my date!
Meg, I almost lost you once. I'm not gonna lose you again. This guy may look harmless on the outside, but on the inside, he could be a complete bastard, like Fred Flintstone.
Come on, Peter. A doctor's a great person to go on a date with. Think of all the weird moles and rashes you can show them over dinner. Oh, and also they make a lot of money too, but like, the moles, man! Lois is totally fine with Meg going on a date, but Peter's suspicious that he could be two dwarves in an overcoat trying to trick her. Man, the number of times I've been caught out with that one. Following Lois's advice, Peter gives Michael the talk.
Neither is her lower back or her hair.
I understand.
Do you, Michael? Do you? We'll see.
Well, that was disturbingly specific. Eventually, the intern manages to convince Peter that he's good enough for Meg, and 3 weeks later, they're still going strong. Good for you, you crazy kids. Things soon go sour, though, when Michael spots Peter spying on them in a pretty offensive disguise.
This is more than I can deal with. If your father is this, I don't see how it can work out.
But, Michael...
I promise I won't forget you.
Oh no, Joe.
He just walked out on you. He's a bad man. Like,
if he can throw in the towel that easy, he definitely wasn't cut out to be part of the Griffin family. I'll just tell you that right now. Meg is super upset, and Lois and Peter try to make her feel better and encourage her to move on from Michael, but that's when she drops this bombshell.
I'm pregnant!
Swear to God, I didn't know that when I set you up with her.
Oh yeah, you bet your bottom dollar she needs to see a doctor to make sure. Oh wait, that's what's got her into this mess in the first place. The news obviously comes as a shock, and Peter insists on forcing Michael to marry up using a shotgun as a little bit of encouragement. Yeah, Peter went psycho dad, but luckily he didn't have to give him both barrels, as Michael instantly gets down on one knee and proposes right then and there. The family starts preparing for the wedding, and Peter organizes the bachelorette party, although I don't think Meg appreciated it that much.
it's Officer Nasty. Careful, I might be carrying a concealed weapon.
Something tells me she won't want those glasses back. The day of the wedding soon arrives, but Lois finds Meg crying. She tells her mom that she made a mistake and isn't pregnant after all. Lois urges Meg to tell Michael the truth. I mean, after all, he isn't only marrying her because he thinks she's pregnant, right? Yeah, he gets out of there faster than the Roadrunner on crack. Meg apologizes about the whole situation, but Peter reassures her that it's his fault.
Sometimes a father just gets a little overprotective. You gotta know, I was only thinking about your happiness.
I know, Dad, and I appreciate it.
The problem now is that these people are expecting a
It's either Peter has started on the champagne early or he genuinely loves his daughter. Maybe both. Probably both. Look, as we've seen, Meg and Peter have a complicated relationship, but it's when they're forced to spend time together that they realize how much they truly have in common. When Peter loses his license after failing a ridiculous stunt, Meg is forced to be her dad's chauffeur.
Hey, Meg, you sure look hot.
What?
Hey, Meg, I lit your scalp on fire.
I imagine this is what it's like to be an Uber driver. In Road to Rupert, the Griffin family does some spring cleaning and holds a yard sale. Problem is, Peter doesn't seem to understand how selling stuff is supposed to really work.
Holy crap, Evil Knievel gloves. I bet I could do $5.50. 10, sold. Second, how much for the gloves?
Peter, those are yours.
$10. 2, 7, 4, sold. Second, I would have gone to 15 easy. I am so stupid.
Yes, you are, Peter. With a pair of Evil Knievel gloves, Peter believes he has the skills to jump over a row of parked cars. What? That's like buying a Superman costume and thinking you can fly by jumping off a building. Well, let's not give Peter any more ideas. The stunt goes well, as you'd probably imagine.
Wow, this is just like what happened with Matthew Broderick, except no one... What happened with Matthew Broderick, except no one's dead.
Ooh, so close. If only he had worn the cape and helmet. His reckless actions do not go unnoticed, however, as Joe swiftly comes around to revoke his driving license. Did he really think Joe wouldn't look outside his window to see a demolition derby going on outside? With no license, Peter is forced to stay in the house. I guess they don't have any buses in Quahog. Like a grounded child, it becomes even more annoying than usual, and Lois decides that he needs a personal driver to get him out of the house. But who would be stupid enough to put up with Peter all day?
Until you get your license back?
What? Lois, this is the best you could do?
Well, it was either Meg or a talking monkey smoking a cigar, but I didn't think you'd like that.
Ah, Meg. You'd have a better time driving around with a gassy pig who just ate Taco Bell. At least the pig can't speak. Kind of. Peter has a tantrum like a toddler and demands apple juice while watching SpongeBob. Kind of sounds like me after a long journey, no matter the age. To make things worse, he invites the guys to get loaded with him in the back seat.
Gross! Will you stop it? Stop it!
Oh, that's just nasty, Cleveland. You don't know where she's been. Why would Meg even agree to drive a bunch of drunk guys around? Well, it's a recipe for disaster, as you'd imagine, and I get no answers to that question. Meg eventually hits boiling point after Peter sets her beanie on fire, and Quagmire has to put it out with beer.
Hey, Meg, don't be such a hot...
Hey, Meg, look hot today. Hey, Meg, I lit your scalp on fire.
Don't worry, I'll put it out.
What the hell is your problem, you dumb bimp?
That was awesome.
Wi-Fi, just can't wait to get on the road again. Wi-Fi love is making music with my friends.
So Joe will take away Peter's license, but will let Meg beat up a guy? Double standards! After showing her old man that she's got a mean right hook, he couldn't be prouder, even describing her as an amazing daughter. Lois, on the other hand, isn't impressed and urges her to apologize to the dude who got his butt whooped. But Peter steps in to defend her.
You should call that man and apologize.
Hey, don't you talk to her like that. Meg's as cool as the other side of the pillow.
Come on, be real. Nobody's as cool as Lando Calrissian in pillow form. With the newfound respect, Peter and Meg start enjoying each other's company. They go to a drive-thru cinema like they're in the Flintstones, smash mailboxes with a baseball bat, and even pull off that Evil Knievel stunt that Peter failed miserably at earlier. Some parents are proud of good grades and a tidy bedroom. Others like to see them wreak havoc and beat up dudes. I guess it's true what they say. You can't learn parenthood from a book. The duo becomes the best of buds, and Meg and Peter agree that they haven't had this much fun in ages. This leads to a touching heart-to-heart moment.
Sometimes I give you a hard time, you know, calling your name, farting in your cereal when you go to get milk, and ha 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 ha, she doesn't know she's eating my fart. But you don't realize, I got a really wonderful...
Dad.
Peter, good news. Your suspension is up. It's back.
You mean it? I'm free? No more getting driven?
Aw, what's a few extra bubbles in your cereal when you have a father's love? Meg rarely gets to see how much her dad loves her, but when he does show off his soft side, it really hits you in the feels. Like Meg with that driver. Only instead of the feels, it was his face. But all good things must come to an end, and Joe gives Peter the good news that his license has been reinstated, which means he no longer needs Meg. Understandably, she thinks that her dad will go back to being his old self, but Peter tells her this.
Well, maybe just to keep up appearances in front of the family, you know, peer pressure and all that. But from now on, Meg, you and me are secret best friends.
Who wants a glass of fresh lemonade?
Not me! What I want is a fresh glass of better daughter! Hey.
Secret best friends are better than nothing, I guess. Who knows, one day you might be ready to take their friendship public. But I doubt it. That's all I've got for today. Be sure to check out this other Family Guy video on screen now if you love this one. Have a nice day!